Alrighty, well, we know we haven't put a video out in a little while, and it's been pretty bad of us because we've got tons of footage, and we've just been kind of, you know, living and not too worried about putting videos together. It's really just been a matter of me being lazy. I'm sorry, but wanted to make a video to go over our highlights for the last, I guess it's been about a month and a half of what we've done, because we've gone from Pompano Beach, last video we made, and we've gone down to Key West, over to Bimini, up to the Berry Islands, down to Nassau, and now we're actually making our way down the Exuma Islands, and we are anchored at the moment off of Shroud Key in the Exumas, and we are sailing with a schedule which is not really, you know, that great, because my brother's flying down to Turks and Caicos on the 24th of this month, so that gives us about 22 days, I think, not even, maybe 20 days to get there. I lose track of time, I don't even know what day it is. So to start, you know, we wanted to go over our journey to Key West. We left Miami, we stayed in Miami for a few days, and we had to meet with friends who were flying into Key West, our friends Jared and Jess, and you know, we were encountered, you know, great weather sailing down the Biscayne Bay, and the only bad thing that happened was on our way out of Biscayne Bay, we tried to get out of one of the outlets. At first we were going to go out Angel Fish Creek, but we decided after talking to Cito and to talking to, you know, some other boaters, that a 7-foot keel out Angel Fish Creek is really unwise. The man said that we would have made it all the way out until the very end, and then we would have ran aground right in the ocean on a reef. So not a good idea. So then we thought we could make it out Broad Creek, about 5 miles north, and we didn't make it out that either. We got stuck really hard, and I had to take the dinghy off, and we had to twist the boat with the dinghy, and you know, yeah, we have video of that. So you know, we got out. Then we spent 2 days in Marathon on the way down, and we went to the Kingdom Hall there and met some lovely you know, brothers and sisters out there. We arrived in Key West just in time for our friends to be there, and we stayed in the Key West Bight Marina, and I got some chores done. My friend was able to pull me up the mast, and we went out on the town and had some drinks, and it turns out Bear, our dog, our sea wolf, our mascot, was a great hit everywhere we went. So the locals there, they're very fabulous, and they gave the nickname to Bear Peaches. And you know, we were running around the island on the bicycles, and people would yell out "Peaches!" So
she's fuzzy like a peach.
I guess she's fuzzy like a peach. So you know, we had a great time while we were in the marina. To be honest, Key West is really cool, but the anchorage there, it's kind of like a floating junkyard, and we weren't really impressed with it.
Not the marina, the anchorage.
Yeah, not the marina, the anchorage. It was the marina is very beautiful, very nice, great amenities, all that. But the anchorage, I mean, it's something out of Waterworld. They've got like, you know, abandoned vessels all around and all that. So we decided once our friends left, that on a whim we were looking for a spot to anchor, and then I just said to Sarah, I said, why don't we just get out of here? Why are we sticking around? And on that day, right then, it was around 10 or 11 o'clock, we just sailed north, and it turned out we had probably one of the best sails that we've ever had from Key West to Marathon. We put our sails up. We were doing about 6.5, 7 knots. Not that much of a
stayed on one.
You know, stayed on one reach, and it wasn't even that much of a lean on the boat. And we made it there in a couple hours, and we it was great until I went to roll in our furler, and I got a spinnaker spinnaker halyard stuck in the jib, and I broke the furler drum cover. It still functions, it's just, you know, you have to guide the line up so it doesn't spin up now. So anyways, we left a Marathon to go to Rodriguez Key on the way back, and that was probably one of the worst sailing days we've ever had, other than from Miami or from Pompano to Miami. The waves were just, I mean, we beat into the waves, probably 4 to 6 foot seas, just straight on, beating into the waves and the wind. Couldn't even sail. Just, it was right on our nose, and we motored up and down, just smashing into the waves, and that was no fun. And our autopilot wasn't working at the time because the bolt had broke. So then when we got back to Miami, again, we were waiting for another group of friends to come down, and our friend Courtney was with us, and we went down to South Beach, and had a great time that night. And then we explored the little island, which is great. There's a little empty island right in Marine Stadium, and that's where we took there to run every day, and it was pretty awesome. It was pretty. I like Marine Stadium, except the fact that there's no accommodations for cruisers, except, you know, there's Whiskey Joe's, which has a dock, but you better be eating food or else they'll kick you out, which we always did. I mean, but then just not a very friendly place. So you have to bring your dinghy up to just a beach that's kind of like, it's like abandoned, and there's nowhere to lock it up. So we didn't really like that. So anyways, then we were waiting. We spent a good amount of time in Miami. We spent about a month sitting in the Marine Stadium, you know, pretty much just getting comfortable with the area, making some repairs, fitting out, you know, and when we were waiting for another friend, our friend John Kelly came down, and you know, we had a great time with John as well. And turns out that when we were with John, another cruiser that has a really cool YouTube channel called Wicked Salty, he came into the bay, and I recognized the boat, his boat Parody. And one morning I was like, Sarah, I think that's Parody. I think that's Wicked Salty, Weston Cape. And it turns out it was. And you know, I went over in the morning when I was taking Bear to the island, and I said, hey guys, what's up? You know, you're Wicked Salty. I know who you are. So it was pretty cool. And then we hung out with them, and it was pretty cool. And we resolved that we were going to make the crossing together. That was after, I should note, that was after Wes and Kate. They thought they had a weather window. Turns out they really didn't. And he has a video. I'll put a link as well for his video, his failed crossing. You know, I tell you what, right off of Miami, you can get some really heavy seas, especially going out the port. So we hung out with them for about another week, waiting for a window, and we made the crossing on that Saturday, I think it was, after fueling up at the Miami Beach Marina. And turns out we had great we're not sailing, motoring, because there was no wind, but I'll take no wind in the Gulf Stream. And it was a great journey, very flat seas, except right near the end, but nothing we couldn't handle. And we pulled into Bimini. So on the way to Bimini, going in to check in, I discovered that my PVC West Marine dinghy, which I knew I shouldn't have bought, was literally coming apart at the seams and started, you know, not floating and taking on water. So we need a new dinghy. You know, we checked into Bimini, got all of our paperwork sorted out, and got some SIM cards for our phones, because the communication situation in Bimini, or in Bahamas for that matter, stinks. There is no cell coverage for any other carriers except AT&T, and it's just ridiculous, the roaming charges. So you have to buy these SIM cards, and it's, you know, $30 for like 2 gigs of data, and, you know, $30 for 100 minutes or something stupid. So anyways, communication system situation over here is really stinky. You have to go to get Wi-Fi. So we left Bimini, and we head to the Berry Islands, and we encountered the most beautiful beach we've ever seen. The water was like Listerine. It was so clear, and it was awesome. There's a nice little. It turns out to be like the only restaurant on the island. It was the Beach Club bar, and you know, we were anchored right off of it. It was, you know, nothing fancy, but it was beers and it was food, and you know,
the only thing
somewhere.
was is they did want bear on the deck.
Yeah, well, that's a
also,
common theme. Bear is not welcome anywhere in the Bahamas, which
well,
really
most
stinks.
places,
Most
yeah.
places. I mean, that was an exception. The place we went to last night was
And
an
the other thing we
exception.
can't help is the flies.
Yeah.
So the food comes out, and
As soon as
also,
you start
like, the
cooking,
swarm comes.
the swarm comes. That's nothing that cruisers wouldn't know of anyways. So we left the Berry Islands. We anchored one more night in Whale Cay, right off of Whale Cay, and then we hopped over to Nassau one morning, Whale Cay. And we hopped over to Nassau, spent we spent about a week and a half, about 13 days in Nassau. Went to Atlantis, awesome. We hung out with the gang, Richard and Kate, and their boat Tatiana. They turned out to be great company, and they got us into Atlantis. And I should give a shout out to the boat Momo and their crew from Boston area, and it was really fun. I mean, considering we didn't spend $120 per ticket to get into the Atlantis water park. So you know, then we left Wicked Salty. It turns out came, you know, they caught up to us, and we hung out with them in the bay, and then on the same day we resolved we had a weather window to get from Nassau to the Exumas. And we had one of the most beautiful sails again from Nassau to the Exumas. We put it on autopilot, engine off. Pretty much, you know, most of the way. In the beginning we had to motor out of the bay, but not a big deal. And you know, it was awesome. It was 12 knots of wind, and you know, going about 4 or 5 knots, just with no kind of chop at all. So we made it to what is it? The first island you go to, I forget what it's called.
Let's look at the logbook.
Let's look at the logbook.
Highborn Key.
It was Highborn Key we checked into.
We got there around 5:30 at night.
We got there around 5:30, and then we spent a night, did some cool snorkeling with Wes and Kate from Parody, and Wes got an awesome fish. I was wearing a GoPro, but I didn't get the shot on camera like an idiot. So you're just gonna have to take our word for it.
But Kate did have her phone, so when they came to land, Wes got to do a little video shout out about it. So
yes.
you can look on their site.
Yeah, go to their website and
see if it's like, it looks like
their
a
YouTube
snapper.
channel.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, and they ate it, and we have yet to hear how it is. So we decided the next morning that we have to be, again, as I said, we have to be in Turks and Caicos by the 24th. So today's the 6th of April. So we have, you know, a little over 2 weeks to get there. So we're at anchor off of Shroud Key again, and if you keep, you know, if you want to hear more, feel free to comment in the description, in the comment section below, and ask us questions. And in the future, we're gonna actually make a video with a tour of the entire boat. So we're gonna show you what Seawolf's all about, and you know, where we're living. So
Show you my secrets.
we'll show you all our secrets. So thanks again, and we'll see you later. Bye.